The story begins years ago, far away from horror, monsters, and fog. A lonely artist named James Sunderland meets a woman named Mary Crane by pure chance as she is leaving her hometown of Silent Hill. When James accidentally causes her to miss her bus, she hesitates, then decides to stay. That small decision changes both their lives forever. James and Mary slowly fall in love. Their connection feels genuine, deep, and comforting. Eventually, they move in together in Silent Hill, a quiet town surrounded by fog and isolation. At first, life there seems peaceful, but beneath the surface, something is already wrong. In the present day, James is no longer the man he once was. He has left Silent Hill, become an alcoholic, and lives with crushing guilt he can't explain. He regularly speaks to a psychologist who worries that James is mentally unstable. James suffers from memory gaps, hallucinations, and emotional breakdowns. Then one day, something impossible happens. James receives a letter. It's from Mary. The letter asks him to return to Silent Hill. The problem is, Mary is supposed to be dead. Without thinking twice, James drives back to Silent Hill. As he enters the town, thick fog swallows the road. Ash falls from the sky like snow. The streets are empty. Silent Hill looks abandoned, as if life itself fled long ago. James learns that a mysterious illness killed most of the population, forcing the town to be evacuated. As he searches for Mary, he encounters a disturbed woman named Angela, who seems terrified of something following her. Moments later, James is attacked by a grotesque monster. This is when he realizes Silent Hill is no longer bound by reality. As the town twists into a nightmare, James flees to Woodside Apartments, the place where he once lived with Mary. Inside, he meets two strange figures: Eddie, a violent and unstable man, and Laura, a young girl who seems oddly comfortable in this hellish place. Laura claims she knows Mary. James doesn't understand how that's possible. Then, something far worse appears. A towering executioner with a massive metal helmet drags a blade across the floor. Pyramid Head. The creature radiates punishment and terror. Eddie runs in fear, and James barely escapes with his life. James suddenly awakens back in a calmer version of Silent Hill, as if the nightmare never happened. He encounters Angela and Laura again, and Laura insists that Mary is alive. Soon after, James meets Maria, a woman who looks almost exactly like Mary but behaves differently. She's more confident, more seductive, and strangely aware of the town's dangers. Maria offers to guide James to Brookhaven Hospital where Mary was last seen. As they travel, fragments of James's memory begin to return. He remembers discovering that Mary was involved in a cult founded by her father, a cult that practiced disturbing rituals. He recalls seeing Mary drugged, chanting, and participating in ceremonies he didn't understand. Their relationship ended the night James fled Silent Hill. At Brookhaven Hospital, Maria finds an audio tape. The tape reveals that Mary was poisoned. Suddenly, the hospital transforms into a grotesque nightmare. Blood-stained walls, screaming sirens, and monstrous nurses flood the halls. Maria is brutally attacked and mortally wounded. James leaves her behind. Once again, he fails to save Mary. James is lured by Laura into a sealed room where he encounters a massive, moth-like creature with Mary's face. Just as the monster advances, James wakes up in a hospital bed. His psychologist is there. And finally, the truth begins to surface. Mary died shortly after their breakup. James couldn't accept it. His mind shattered, creating illusions and false memories. Silent Hill became a manifestation of his guilt. The hospital transforms again, and James realizes Maria was never real. She was a twisted reflection of Mary created by his subconscious. In a disturbing gallery filled with paintings of Mary, James declares that he no longer needs Maria. At that moment, Pyramid Head appears and executes Maria. For a split second, James sees himself beneath Pyramid Head's helmet. James arrives at the Lakeview Hotel, a place filled with memories of happier times. There, Laura explains the final truth. Angela, Maria, and Laura themselves are fragments of Mary's personality and James's guilt, projections created by Silent Hill to force him to face reality. James witnesses a vision of Angela being consumed by a monstrous figure resembling Mary's father, the cult leader. Everything begins to make sense. On the roof of the hotel, James remembers the final, horrifying truth. Months earlier, he returned to Silent Hill and found Mary dying from the cult's poison. She was in constant pain, slowly fading away. Mary begged James to end her suffering, and he did. James smothered her to death. The moth-like creature appears once more, then transforms back into Mary's human form. James collapses in tears, apologizing over and over again. James places Mary's body into his car and drives into the lake, choosing death over living with guilt. But Silent Hill offers one final chance. James wakes up in the moment he first met Mary. This time, he makes a different choice. He doesn't bring her back to Silent Hill. He drives away, and the cycle is finally broken.